Test the edges here for you. Testing for parallax. Tell we put it just in the edge corners and the bottom. Let's see if we can barely see the bottom. There we go. Welcome back to 13C. Today, the 509T RD from Holosun. Thanks to Optics Planet for helping us get this guy in. We really appreciate it. We'll put some links down below and some discount codes that are good year-round to Optics Planet, including on pretty much everything on the site, even sale prices. So we'll put that info down below. The code is 13C Gun Reviews. We'll put down below links and stuff like that to this and the other stuff. In any event, let's jump right into this. So this was Holosun's answer to the enclosed emitter market, or more specifically, the Aimpoint Acro. Been out for a little while now. We've had it in for 3 months. Been carrying it here on the Masada, which is my EDC. I carry this pistol every day, and I have for solid probably 2 years now. Prior to this, the RMR2 HRS was on here. Took it off, put this on here. Decided, what the hell, I'm gonna run it. So I've run it for the past 3 months. When you run something exclusively on your EDC for a couple of months, in my opinion, it helps to prove it out. Now, I'm not going to do that for, I don't do it for everyone, like the Bushnell one that we had, for example. Great red dot. I run it on one of my suppressor host pistols, but I wouldn't necessarily, for what it is, for the price point, great optic, but I'm not going to run that on my EDC. This, I feel, is good enough to run on my EDC, so I did. And I haven't had really any complaints, not about the optic itself. Some of the things that are specific to enclosed emitter, we'll get into that as how that relates to this in this video. Again, we may wind up doing a separate standalone video just on enclosed emitter optics and thoughts, stuff like that. In any event, decent optic. Short answer, I'll tease. Won't talk about the Acro 2, the Acro 2.0, whatever they're calling the next generation one, I'm not even sure yet. But anyway, first one, I take this over the first gen all day, every day. Second gen, we'll talk about that later. So what we have here is something relatively inexpensively priced that is, you've heard that saying, as good as, say this is better than the first gen Acro. I just hands down. This is a solid optic, you're gonna like it. I'll go through the reasons why if you're looking for an enclosed optic versus Gen 1. And I said I wasn't going to compare, but here we are. Anyway, let's go. 2 MOA dot in here and 32 MOA circle around that makes for really quick presentations, especially if you're just learning and transitioning from iron sights to a red dot on a handgun. Helps tremendously in getting on target fast. Just having a 2 MOA dot on a hand, I love the 2 MOA dot, it's my favorite size dot even for a handgun, but just having that 2 MOA dot does slow you down, and you really have to practice that muscle memory for getting your handgun out there and presenting properly every time, so you're hitting that dot every single time. That comes down to training and practice. It is what it is, but that's one of the nice things I like about this reticle that's in here. The same thing that I liked about the other Holosun model I did, which I think was the 507. I'd have to look, I'll note it down below. Any event, 12 levels of brightness on this, 10 daytime, 2 night vision, 12,000 hours at power level 6 for the circle and dot, or if you're just running the dot alone, 50,000 hours at power level 6. Does have the solar plate up here that has dual function. It will power itself if there's enough light coming in here. It will power itself via the light instead of the battery. It also acts as a sensor to sense the ambient light, so it will adjust the brightness of your dot up and down in auto mode. Also has 2 other modes: manual, self-explanatory, you push the buttons to manually set your brightness, and then lockout. Lockout is a secondary feature to manual, meaning that you set your brightness where you want it, put it in lockout mode, and then touching these buttons individually won't do anything. You have to purposely press and hold down to exit out of lockout mode. Takes a little bit to get in and out of lockout mode. not horrible. I really don't see necessarily a use for it. These buttons in here, they're tactile. You can feel them well, but they're just ever so recessed so that even carrying them up against your body all day, you're not going to accidentally bump them. I did carry it in manual mode for a couple of days to see if anything was going to happen. I didn't have any issues with it changing on me from carrying it up against my body. Holster wise, I am still using this inside the waistband from LAG Tactical. This has been a fantastic holster. I'll put this guy in here so that you can see that. This is a standard one for, you know, like an RMR, and you can tell it fits in there just right. It's not messing with anything or doing anything different. It's high cut for suppressor height sights, which is good there. And anyway, great holster. Running it since almost since I got this handgun. Came in like a month and a half after I got the handgun, I believe, something like that. There was a bit of delay in production. It takes them a little while to get some of the more custom ones out, but fantastic products, good people over there at LAG. Night Vision suppressor height sights. I should probably mention this is the Masada, if I didn't already. It's from IWI. Started using it as an EDC a couple of years ago. Fell in love with it. I like it a lot, and I've been running it ever since. Had the Trijicon RMR2 HRS on there, and 3 months ago I put this on here. And been running it. So some of the things that you come into that you may not necessarily realize if you're just out running on the range or just kind of doing some low light stuff here or there. Having it on, being out in the farm, coyote country out here, having to go out every night and walk my dog. He runs around and I watch him, but I keep an eye on him out here because we live on, you know, multi-acre farm out here, and you know, coyotes are out here, and he's a big German Shepherd, and he's not really scared of anything, and if there's a coyote nearby, he may decide to fight it, and in fact, he's tried to chase after various things in the past that I've had to call him off of. In any event, if you're out there walking, I'm always armed, and drawing this out at night and presenting it under moonlight, the minimum brightness on automatic mode is too bright on this, in my opinion. Now, the 4 or 5 other Holosuns I have that have automatic mode, including that 507, that micro pistol red dot. The automatic mode drops down dim enough in very low light so it's not too overwhelming. On this one, it's a little brighter in my opinion than it should be. Now obviously kick it into manual mode, drop that brightness down and it's fine. But in automatic mode, that's not great. So a couple reasons why, one of which is you don't want to drown out your target. Now I know some of you are saying, well, you shoot with both eyes open with the red dot. Yes, you do. If you're in my boat though, it makes it a little rough. I'm right hand dominant, left eye dominant, and I have a pretty wicked stigmatism in my right eye. That's not fun. So if you notice, well, when I'm wearing clear shooting glasses, you'll notice, you know, obviously both my eyes are open, but when I'm pressed out, you'll notice if you look in some of the videos where I've got angles coming from the front, it's not your imagination, my head is cocked slightly to the right so that I'm lining up with my left eye. And I do that not by shifting my body or the pistol, but just by turning my head ever so slightly so that it's my right eye or my left eye coming up behind it because of that strong left eye dominance issue. So I'm not able to look through red dots even with I have a significant difficulty with this when I'm shooting rifles, having both eyes open and trying to marry those two images. Sometimes it doesn't work and I have to either half squint my left eye so that my right eye takes over, or in some instances, if I'm having a bad day, I have to completely close my left eye so that my right eye will be dead on there. And you guys do see me shooting some ambidextrously. Much better with my right side than my left. Passable with my left, but it is what it is, right? I don't have, unfortunately, the time to put the thousands and thousands of extra rounds into training up my left side and just making it happen. It's me, it is what it is. You gotta live with it. So anyway, that's one of the interesting things that you come up with it. The other thing, like I said, with the holster, you're not bumping the buttons on these, at least I'm not carrying it in manual mode, so I really don't see a point to having to go into the lockout mode. Again, if you're so inclined, you're more than welcome to. It has automatic sleep in this. The default from the factory is 10 minutes. It doesn't detect any movement, and when it's in automatic mode, it will turn itself off after 10 minutes. You can change that to be 10 minutes, 1 hour, 12 hours, or it never turns itself off automatically. That's their shake awake feature. I have never once had this thing fail to immediately snap on, even with the slightest of movement. Meaning that if I take it, I set it on the table, walk away from it, come back, 15 minutes later, scrunch down, look through it without touching it, the dot's off. The second I go to touch it and it senses any movement, pops back on. Good feature. I like it a lot. Obviously, if you're running, you know, one of these in a patrol car, you're driving around all day, your optic's going to be on all day as long as that patrol car is moving. Something to keep in mind there. The body itself is titanium. It's a solid titanium body. It weighs in at 1.72 ounces. So fairly lightweight. Takes a CR1632 battery. The window on here is pretty generous. It's 0.62 inches high and 0.91 inches in width, so almost an inch left to right. Nice wide thing, which is good, which is another thing I want to bring up with that stigmatism. And looking through it is that this thing has a notch filter in it, which is like that blue tint you see. The blue tint in this is very minimal. But the reason why they put these notch filters, blue filters on there, whatever you want to call them, is so that you don't have to run the battery or the dot as bright for it to be seen. It's easier to see on that tinted glass there. It's a good thing. Lengthens battery life, stuff like that. On other ones, and this is where this has a huge advantage over, let's say, that Trijicon RMR2. The filter in the RMR2 is horrible. I hate it. It puts a very distinct hue on it, and looking through it, especially in low light, it's a lot harder to look through it. Again, I mentioned with my eye issues, I'll need to look through it sometimes to actually see it, and I can't necessarily always marry those two images together just because my brain just says, hey, the left eye looks way better, we're going with the left eye, screw the right eye, it doesn't exist. It is what it is. It's happening up here some reason, somehow. People much smarter than I know why that is. In any event, that's a huge win over, not just with this one, but also they use that same technology on the 507, the other pistol mounted red dot I did from Holosun as well. So there's that. One of the issues with an enclosed emitter like this is you've kind of got an extra plate on there. So this uses an RMR footprint, which is good, but since you can't put screws through the top because it's enclosed at the top, there's a bolt that goes through the side. So what you'll do is, and Holosun includes an RMR plate on there, so you take the RMR plate, bolt it to your gun, and then put the sight on the plate, on the Holosun plate, bolt through it, tighten it down, and there it is. Problem is, it raises it up just enough so that standard suppressor height sights don't clear, and that kind of sucks. So now my nice night vision tritium sights can't be used when this is on there. That sucks. Now there are some ways around that. There are companies coming out with optics height sights as opposed to suppressor height sights. There's a plate combo for the Glock MOS, for example. There's some ways to work around that, but depending on how your slide is set up, the gun, etc., you may not be able to co-witness with your suppressor height sights like you can with an RMR and most of the other sights that are out, the Doctors, Leupold, etc., Bushnell, SIG, you know, whatever. Vortex. All right, I don't want to leave anybody out. I know I am, but whatever. In any event, that's one of the dings that I have about this one. Same problem with that acro, again, if I were to put an acro on here. So it is what it is. So I moved my press, and somehow every so often, in my last batch of reloads, they're slightly out of spec. Every so often one of them is. So I got to get that dialed back in, but it sets up a good malfunction clearing for us here now. So you can tell it hasn't gone into battery, and it's locked up pretty tight. So we're going to do kind of the worst case scenario here. Looks good, cleared it out. I haven't abused the hell out of this as bad as I did the Trijicon RMR, but we have bashed it a little bit, did some malfunction clearing with it, a handful of those. I haven't broken it yet, haven't cracked it. The front glass here is recessed enough in that it looks good. The back, I really wish they would have recessed. I haven't had any issues, but if they would have had this lip on the titanium come out just another millimeter right here around it, that would have set this off in the back to protect that back just a little bit better. Just kind of my opinion on that. I haven't had any issues with it, but that would have been a plus on that. Overall, I'm happy with this. I like it. I like the dot. you know, a couple detractors here or there. Overall, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to take this and move it over. I'm doing a video, the full video on the IWI Galil Ace Gen 2 and 7.62x3.9. Hell of a firearm. I absolutely love it. We're doing suppressor work with it now. I think I'm going to move this over onto that and put my RMR2 back on here. I like being able to co-witness my sights on this, as well as the fact that I like the fact that the automatic mode in that Trijicon RMR2 is better than the automatic mode in this. It just is. Now the Holosun 507 beat out the RMR2, but apples to apples, I really wanted a as bulletproof, tank-proof of an optic as I could on that. And I may wind up putting that other one back on. I'm getting off topic. In any event, we're gonna go back to the RMR2 for now on this, so that I can take this off and do some more work with it on that 7.62x3.9. See how it does on that. I want to play around with it more and get some more rounds through it. I also want to get this back to my normal EDC configuration, so I can do some more work on this on something else. So that's what we're gonna do for now. Hopefully that covers everything. I feel like I talked about some of the night sight differences, brightness issues. There's a lifetime limited warranty on these through Holosun to the original purchaser. So if you have an issue with it, as long as you didn't purposefully hit it with a hammer or something, they've got a pretty good, Holosun has a pretty good warranty. You can run through them for that. I washed this off once or twice through carrying it. We got more crap in there. If you look on here, you can see the dust and schmutz that collects right on this bottom edge right here. Absolutely in no way affects the function or anything. It does look kind of crappy. Rinsed it out, cleaned it up, and of course I've carried it again for another couple of weeks. And the pocket lint and dust is back there, so it's back there as well. It is what it is. Generally speaking, I run and use what I have. You can tell this thing is so beat up now from throwing it around and tossing it and smashing it into things that's where we are. So yeah, stick around, subscribe if you haven't already. That IWI video will drop. I'll probably move this over onto that Galil Ace Gen 2. Yeah, there we go. I don't know. I'm feeling weird today. I don't know where my energy is or anything else. It's been an insanely busy couple of weeks here. I apologize for some of the delays in the videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate it. Check us out on Patreon. We have Swag Shop 1776 United. You can find our channel shirts. If you want to pick up a shirt to support the channel in that way. That Galil Ace video is coming out. We're going to talk about stabilizer braces here soon as well. One of the newer ones that's out with that. A couple other, several other things up on the horizon. Anyway, thank you again, everybody. We really appreciate your support, your patience as our volume has kind of slowed down a little bit as we're trying to tick back up here. Another suppressor video will be out by the end of the month as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Anyway, we'll talk soon. If you need anything, shoot me a message, let me know. Otherwise, stay safe, take care. We'll talk soon. Yeah, real quick, one last thing. IPX6 rated, so IPX6 impervious to dust. IPX7 is waterproof to 1 meter. It's also fog proof as well.